What's up guys, Jake here with Jakesgotherps, not to be confused with herpes. Herpes is nasty. In this video I'm going to be answering questions from my Instagram page. I'm going to be doing question and answer for Instagram, which is what I'm doing now obviously, and for Facebook and YouTube. So if you have any questions that you've been yearning for me to answer, leave them as a comment or send them as a message to me on YouTube, or add me on Facebook and send your questions there, and hopefully I will get back to them in a video. But in this video, like the title suggests, I'm going to be answering questions from my Instagram page, and for my backdrop for this video I'm going to be showing you guys Reggie, my red-tailed boa, because a lot of people have been asking for more videos of my boas. I cannot deny the popularity of boas, and I figured now would be a good time as ever to showcase him for you guys, because I have a lot of animals that are in shed right now that I also want to show you, so I figure because he's not in shed, he would be the prime candidate for showcasing. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first question comes from that dude Josh, and he asked, what is a reptile that you really want? This is kind of a tricky question for me because I'm obviously a huge reptile enthusiast, as you guys could probably guess. So there's really no reptile that I wouldn't want to keep besides species that I already own. You know, any animals that I can continue to learn from and to, you know, obtain more knowledge on is an animal that I want to keep. So if you're asking what reptiles do I want to keep, you know, in the near future, probably a Burmese python or maybe an anaconda. Some sort of large species of snake would be something that I really want to work with in the future, especially more larger pythons, just because one of my bucket list goals for my life is to keep one of every genus of python. You know, I think it's a doable goal, and I think it would be a really cool thing to have, you know, one of every genus in a private collection. I think that would be extremely cool, actually. So I think a Burmese python would be a cool snake to have, and so that's something I'm kind of contemplating for the future. Probably not anytime, you know, really soon, but hopefully, you know, in the relative future, I will own a Burmese python. So I guess that's what you can expect from me. And the next question comes from Brett Hagen 15, and he asked if I could have any animal for free with free upkeep, what would it be? And I like this question because I'm an animal enthusiast in general. You know, not just reptiles. I like birds and exotic mammals and amphibians and all that sort of stuff. So I think this question is cool because it, you know, broadens the view a little bit. And for any animal, I'd probably pick a Bengal tiger. Reason being is that Bengal tigers, aside from being, you know, potentially very dangerous animals for the keeper, they're also very expensive to house because they are so large, and they're very expensive to feed. They eat a lot of food, at least from what I've read and from what I've been told. So, you know, having the money to do that, or having it for free, rather, would be ideal if you were wanting to keep an exotic cat of any sort. So if I could have any animal for free, it would definitely be a Bengal tiger. The next question comes from Dominic Allen, and he asked, do I only feed frozen or live? And this is a good question because I'm very vocal on my social media pages about why I don't like live feedings, and I can talk about that in a different video for you guys. But, you know, as much as I despise watching, you know, any living animal die, I do have to feed live from time to time. This snake right here, actually, this Irian giant carpet python, only eats live food for whatever reason. In however long I've been keeping her, she's never once shown any interest in frozen food. She only eats live. So that's something I have to deal with, although I don't enjoy watching, you know, rats suffocate to death. I do have to do it from time to time for my animals, so it's something I have to deal with. And, you know, it's not going to stop me from keeping the animals that I enjoy keeping, though. So, so to answer your question, I feed frozen and I feed live, but mostly frozen. The next question comes from It's Motherfucking Jesper, great name. He asked, what was my first reptile, and do I play football, or American football rather? My first reptile was Jerry, my leopard gecko. I got him like almost 10 years ago, and I still have him to this day, which is really awesome. And to answer the question, do I play football? I do not anymore. I used to, but I got a lot of concussions, and I got a lot of injuries, and I didn't think, you know, my brain capacity was worth risking for playing a high school sport that I really didn't have a future in, you know, professionally anyway. So I don't play anymore, but I'm still an avid football fan, repping my Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, so that's the answer to that question. The next question comes from George140300, and he asks a plethora of questions. First of which is, will I keep retics? Will I keep hots? And what is my opinion on the scaleless ball python? A lot of great questions here. For retics, I will definitely keep at least one retic in the future. I've been contemplating getting a dwarf or super dwarf bloodline, but I think that's something I'm going to save for when I have, a larger space to keep snakes, just because I feel like if you're going to get the largest snake, in the world, or the longest snake in the world, you're getting it for the longest snake in the world, if that makes any sense at all. Like, I want to keep a retic because it can possibly get up to, 18 to 20 feet long. That's what I think is so cool about retics. Now, other people think they're more cool just because of their feeding responses and, their color mutations and all that stuff, and that's fine too, but the main reasons why I want to keep big snakes is because, they're big. So keeping, a smaller variety to me just doesn't have the same appeal. So will I keep retics? Absolutely, just not anytime soon. Will I keep hots is another good question. As of right now, I don't have any formal training with venomous snakes, so I'm not going to keep any anytime soon. That would probably be a very, very poor decision on my part. But I do plan on getting some sort of formal training from somebody I know, or from a professional at some point in the future, and hopefully I will keep some venomous snakes, because there are a lot of elapids especially that I really enjoy watching videos of, and I think that are really cool, so that'll probably be something for me in the future. And this last question is kind of a controversial one, and I know people are going to be mad at me for my answer for it, but I don't really care. So and that is, what is my opinion on the scaleless ball python? And I'm not a big fan of breeding for morphs. I'm more of a locality kind of guy. I understand why people like it, but it's just not something that interests me personally. I feel like the snake is the same whether or not it's red, blue, or yellow, or whatever color it is. But at least normal color mutations, like a pastel ball python, really is just a ball python that's more yellow. That's why it's called a pastel. Those morphs, to me, if you can use your imagination, would be like the equivalent of dyeing your hair. Like, I could dye my hair blue, especially when the Colts won the Super Bowl, but I could dye my hair blue and I would still be the exact same person, right? But when you start messing with the actual animal, like removing the scales, that's where I start to have a problem, because I don't know very much about the genetics of the scaleless ball python, but I can tell you it's not right. Not right. That's probably not the best word, but like, just looking at a picture of it, I can see that it doesn't have heat pits. And without the heat pits, I'm sure it can feed properly, and I'm sure it can do all right in captivity, but nobody really knows what the proper temperature or humidity or substrate or anything like that that's comfortable for the animal is, just based on because they've never kept it before, because there's only one scaleless ball python. And the fact that it doesn't have heat pits, and you start to mess with the things that make snakes just starts to bug me a little bit, and that's where I start to draw the line. That would be like the equivalent of coming out with a boa morph that gives boas legs. Like, when do we draw the line? When do we start to say what's ethical and what isn't? Obviously, a lot of big breeders and stuff will definitely disagree with me on this, because a lot of them see this as, a money opportunity and an opportunity to further advance their business, and I guess I can't hate on, trying to better your own life, any way you can, really, monetarily, but it's just not something I agree with. So that's basically a long, drawn-out answer for me saying that I don't really like the scaleless ball python. I don't really agree with what they're doing with it. And the last question I'm going to answer, because I'm definitely running out of time, because I've been very long-winded answers, but is from Salvatore Milelli, and he asks, if I could have any animal as a tame pet, what would it be? And again, I like this because it's more than just reptiles, but if I could have any animal as like puppy dog tame. I'm not talking like, handable tame, like puppy dog tame. I probably have like a Nile crocodile or a saltwater crocodile, or just a massively impressive animal that I could work with and educate people with. And I think it would just be really cool to have like a crocodile that you could just go and sit on and pet on like a dog. Now, obviously, that's not feasible at all. I'm not saying that you could actually do that, but if I could have a puppy dog tame animal, it'd probably be some sort of large crocodilian, because I am a big fan of the crocs as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed my answers to your questions. And like I said before, if you have any questions, leave them as a comment below or send them in a message on Facebook. And again, don't forget to follow me on my social media sites and leave a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys later. Peace.